So the last video I really want to do here is just going to be kind of, like we said, kind of finishing up kind of a little bit of cleanup here and here I want to do, and do the ear. So let's do the ear here really quick. So the ear is not going to be too hard. So we'll just go to face selection mode. What we can do is we can kind of grab some faces that's kind of right on the side here. It'll probably work out well with maybe 3 or 6 if you want to, how big you want to do it. I might actually just go with 6 because I want a little more geometry there. Remember, you can always bring this forward a little bit, refine the shape a little more if you want to. But usually I kind of pick roughly the polygons kind of, kind of the top row kind of meets up with the eyes, the bottom row kind of roughly lines up kind of with the mouth and nose area. Because if you actually look at your ears, and you look at the top of your ears, it roughly kind of goes a little bit above your eye line, and the lower part of your ear actually kind of roughly lines up with kind of roughly your mouth nose area. So kind of say about those 6. And lo and behold, your ear is an appendage. So we, of course, extrude, right? Oh. And if you ever have that problem where it kind of wants to pull the whole thing, just reselect those polygons and move them, and you're fine. Mine just occasionally gets weird, right? So we'll hit R for scale this in a little bit, just kind of get the tippy tip for that. Move it inward a little bit there. And of course, as always, we can bring a lot of this stuff back in, right? So you can always continually refine the shape just by, grabbing some edges, moving them in. If we want to tweak, we can do that, right? If you just want to use your regular view move, you can, of course. But roughly, we kind of just want to get kind of a lot of this form kind of pulled in here, right? And some of these, right, are just kind of a little bit bunched up. So remember, some of this stuff you might even be able to move inward even more, because see how it's kind of just bunched up there? So some of this stuff is just a little bit bunched up, and as you find yourself just kind of adjusting it, you see how you can kind of get a little more space there if everything can kind of fit. So keep in mind, we just didn't do a lot of shaping in the back there, but you can, right? You can come in there and do some work to kind of make this better. So just kind of do a little bit of tweaking of this shape just to kind of get it fitting pretty well to kind of the overall kind of ear kind of form, right? Kind of in roughly the same areas. There we go. Double click on that one, maybe bring it forward a little bit. There we go. And I would say maybe one multi-cut here just to kind of give us a little more geometry kind of right in there. There we go. And that'll give us the ability to kind of refine the shape even better if we want to. You can kind of see how actually I do need a little bit of this stuff to come out a little bit better there. So kind of bring these back a bit. There we go. Just kind of fit that a little bit better. Maybe that edge back a little bit. Just kind of keep tinkering with that shape just a little bit until you get it closer to what you want. But that ear is an appendage. So extrusion, of course, does a great job with that, right? Now, at this point, we do kind of need a little bit of kind of this inner cavity here, right? So instead of taking these original kind of 6, we could easily just kind of grab those 6 kind of on the front there now, right? So instead of kind of the ones on the side, the front ones, and we could do an extrusion on those that we kind of scale in a little bit. And then we could do kind of a second extrusion that we bring in a little bit here, right? And that gives us kind of that nice little bit of extra kind of ear geometry there, right? So just a couple more extrusions kind of on some different faces, and it kind of gives us that inner kind of ear cavity shape that we're usually looking for, right? And you say you can keep refining the shape, right? I can come back in here to edge mode, and these guys can come down. This guy can probably come up a little bit, right? So remember, don't feel like you're done shaping. When you extrude, it's really just giving you a good starting structure. It's not necessarily giving you your finished product. It just gives you kind of the major appendage form with some good core shape. Maybe even not that great a core shape, but it will work well for good core shape as you adjust it. So remember, you're going to keep shaping, right? And remember, I'm just using kind of that view move, grabbing that center one, view moving it. And then what I usually do to get this kind of little curl in here is I'll grab this edge right here, right? And you'll see it's kind of in the middle row, right? Because we did 3 tall. So it's in that middle row, row 1, row 2, row 3. And you'll see there's kind of a little bit of an edge loop in here that's kind of in between these 3 stars, here and here. So I kind of do an edge one in front of that. And what we'll do is we'll spin that to come in this way. So I'm just going to use my spin edge tools, right? In this case, see how it's kind of going out that way? I don't want that. So let's do edit mesh, spin edge backward again. And now you see how it actually comes inward at a diagonal, right? That's what we want. If we did this one more time, it goes back to the start. Remember, there's usually only, with these simple ones like this, there's only 3 configurations it can have. But we want it to go in, because then it makes it really easy for me to do this, where I can just go kind of select these polygons, right? You saw I was just using drag select. That made it really easy to just hold down left mouse button, right? Tab, left mouse button, right? Just allows you to keep drag selecting. And I'm just kind of able to select those polygons there. But you notice how we did some shaping first, right? You need to do some shaping as you go, right? Don't just and then try to shape. Shape as you go. What I can do is I can do one last little extrusion, kind of bring that all along the normal direction here, just to kind of push out a little bit. Oh. And now we've just got that extra bit of geometry that gives us that kind of that curl in there. This can come down, right? That face can kind of come back up and in. Maybe this face can come down and out. You can always switch to edge mode, right? Hold down right mouse button, edge selection, and just really kind of define that shape and form better. These edges are a little bit bunched up, right? So we can kind of go in here and just kind of easily kind of adjust some of these shapes a little bit where they get a little creased in here. Now this one can come back, that one can come back, right? And we just kind of soften out that form a bit to get what we want. But you see how it now gives us kind of enough geometry to get some pretty good shaping in here for the ear. And it even gives us the kind of that spin in where the shape edge loop flow kind of flows into the ear. So you see how just like on the hand, we were actually using our spin edge features to kind of clean up or adjust the loop flows to be a little bit more ideal, right? So keep that in mind, is that oftentimes you're using that spin edge tool to kind of adjust forms to get a more ideal shape, right? The last thing we want to do to clean up kind of and finish up the face area is we have these 3 stars here, right? So if I go to edge mode and I hold down tab, we'll see there's kind of these 3 edges right here, right? That's a 3-star. There's actually also a 5-star right here, right? See that vertex with 5 edges coming out of it? Now, at the end of the day, they're kind of out on the side here. They're not going to get that much animation. They're not making the shape terribly horrible. So this is more of like one of those cool tricks that I know to optimize the model, right? It's kind of like the hand. If we left the hand alone without doing the spin edges, we'd have a hand that would work fairly well. It would be reasonably good. But by taking a few edge loops out and kind of spinning some edges around, we got it better, right? We got stars that we didn't absolutely necessarily need out of there. Made it a little more efficient and kind of made the flows a little bit better. So some parts of the model are just what I call optimizing, right? If you left them alone, you'd still have something that would work fairly well, but if you spend an extra couple minutes, you get a better model. So how do we get rid of this 3-star? And you'll notice there's one up here, right? That's those 3 stars from that original kind of face jaw extrusion that we did really early in the model, basically one of the first videos, right? So how do we get rid of these? Well, in this case, it's actually literally just select those 3 edges and hit delete. It gets rid of them. It does leave us with a giant n-gon though, which is not something we want, right? So when we delete that, there's a big n-gon there. It's actually really easy to fix though. We go to multi-cut and we put an edge loop in the corner of the mouth. Now this edge loop, you'll notice, is going into the n-gon, so it should be going into the n-gon. If you do it here, it goes all the way through the model. If you do it here, it goes all the way through the head. So this edge loop should go into the corner of the mouth, but into the n-gon, like this, all right? Now if we go to the vertex selection mode, right? Remember, hold down right mouse button, vertex, and you'll see there's 2 vertices now, right? See how there's this n-gon right here, right there. It's a big old 6-7-sided one now. But by putting this edge loop in here, you'll notice it looks like we can connect these 2 vertices and create a quad here on the bottom. We can. Now remember our connect tool we saw on our shoulder edge loop, right? We could do it to faces, we could do it to edges, and it allows us to put an edge loop in based on what's selected. But remember, on our clock radio, we actually saw that we could just put one edge between vertices. So remember, your connect tool is basically a cousin of multi-cut, right? And it really is just for putting in edges or edge loops based on a selection. And in this case, it works with all your major selection types: vertices, edges, and faces. So we'll hit connect, and you see how it wants to put like a little green edge in there. Hit enter, and there we go. So now we've got this kind of nice little extra edge loop in the corner of the mouth we can use for a little more shaping. we've got what was initially a 6-sided that we turned into a 7-sided by adding the multi-cut in there. Now back to a quad and a 5-sided, right? This is now just a normal 5-sided n-gon instead of 6, which they're all normal n-gons, but you know, it's better to have a 5 than a 6, right? But you'll notice it kind of looks like there's really kind of an edge loop that wants to continue through the jawline. Well, we're going to do that. We're going to go to multi-cut, and we're going to put an edge loop through the jaw, the chin area, right? And it should, once again, go into the n-gon, right? So not here, because that's going to go all the way through the face. Not here, because that's going to go all the way through the radial pattern. It should go into that n-gon that's left there, but also be in your chin. Now, if we select these two vertices that are across from each other and don't have an edge, right? You see how this n-gon's now was a 5-sided, it's now a 6-sided. We connect those two vertices, hit enter. And now, not only do you have an extra little bit of an edge loop in the corner of your mouth, you've got a little bit of an extra edge loop in your chin. Those are all things that will be great for allowing you to do better shaping, right? You'll also notice that that 3-star that was there and that 5-star there are gone, but we didn't add edge loops through the whole mesh. We kind of added them in a really cool localized fashion in areas, and then we could use all those, right? Those edge loops allow us to shape this mouth a little bit better, allow it to animate a little bit better, because there's a little more geometry there, but it didn't go everywhere, right? And we got a little more to help shape the chin and the jawline better. So now what we do is we go up to this 3-star up here, right? And when you see that, I'm just hitting Control S to save, right? So we go to edge mode, and we select this 3-star right here, right? So remember, there's a 3-star up on the forehead also, just like there was kind of on the kind of chin jawline area, kind of near the mouth, right? But this one's up here near the eye, so we select that 3-star, right? Those 3 edges. We'll hit delete, and you see how it's created in the same situation where we've got a big n-gon here, and it looks like they want to continue though. So we're going to do that. So we delete those 3 edges, get rid of the 3-star, and we'll create a big n-gon. So if you go, oh, create an n-gon, it's supposed to do that, right? So we go to multi-cut, and we'll hold down Control. We're going to put an edge loop in through the corner of the eye. But once again, you see how it's going into the n-gon, right? It should go into the n-gon. If you do it here, it's going all the way through the body. If you do it here, it's going all the way through the ear. So it should go into your n-gon, right? It should stop after a couple of edges. But it should be the corner of the eye, corner of the upper eye. So we put that edge up in there. And that's great, right? Because, hey, guess what? I can shape the eye a little bit more. Awesome, right? And then what I do is I just grab these two vertices across from each other, right? The ones that look like they should naturally go together to create a complete edge loop. And we hit connect. And you notice it's going to create a quad here and an n-gon here. If you connect and you create a triangle, you did it wrong. Undo and try connecting to another vertice. So you get a quad and a 5-sided, right? If you have a triangle, you did it wrong. So hit enter. There we go. And now that leaves us with this kind of little edge loop here that's a 5-sided that looks like it wants to continue kind of through the jawline area. That's exactly what it does. So we go to multi-cut, and we put an edge loop in through here. And that's also why we made sure to put kind of our mouth 8 wide and our eyes 3 wide, but we also made sure that the eye kind of that kind of outer row polygon on the eye was right up against this edge loop, because it's allowing us to do these cleanups really easily. So we put an extra edge loop in through here, right? And then you'll see that that leaves us with this vertex right across from this one on a 6-sided that we can connect. And the great thing is you see how the edge loop flows through here? They weren't horrible, but these are better, right? They're cleaner. There's no unnecessary stars. The flow looks more natural, right? It's kind of what you'd expect a smooth area to be. And we actually ended up getting extra geometry in here in our chin and jawline area. So you'll now find that you can come in here and you can easily grab this edge loop, bring it back a little bit more. If you want, you can grab these edges and bring them back a lot more. And you say you can kind of have this whole zygomatic arch far less bunched up, right? These guys on the chin can start to come back a little bit more. And what you can really start to do is, with these extra little edge loops, kind of give a little bit more nuance to kind of the chin area, right? And the jaw lines. And you'll even see here that we can now maybe take this edge back and bring it in a little bit. Maybe this edge in a little bit. Maybe this one. And you see how that jawline starts to define itself a little bit stronger? So once you get kind of that extra kind of little couple of edge loops in here, right, and here, all of a sudden you see how you can kind of define and give a more even spacing to kind of this area, and all of a sudden the jawline can start to really be defined kind of appropriately, right? See how all of a sudden that jawline's really starting to kind of show up more where it's supposed to be at, just by moving some of those edges and defining some of that creasing. And these could probably be a little softer here, but you see how just by kind of moving some of these edges out and some of these edges in and some of these back, after we had those extra creations from those extra kind of fixing of the stars, right? That jawline can be defined a lot better. And you see how it's kind of basically going where it's at? Guys, do you think any of this was an accident? No, even though I re-topo parts of my characters nowadays, I had a pretty good box modeling method for building a lot of these things. And that is officially kind of the basic body of the character. Now, we're still going to do a little more to this, right? You notice I haven't done my final smooth yet. What I'm going to do is I'm going to save that for later in the week, right? I'll just come in, do a quick final smooth. We'll put a few extra edge loops kind of in our elbows and knees and knuckles, just to kind of talk about that a little bit more in the bendy straw analogy. You know, kind of extrude a nostril up really quick, put an eyeball in, and then we'll do some quick UV wrapping, a little bit of texture painting, stuff that'll be pretty quick and easy to do in the last videos. But this will get you to the point where all the major stuff's on there, and you'll still kind of have it in a simple enough state that you can focus more on the primary shaping, right? So that'd be a great place to stop and kind of finish up the videos for today. We're basically like 95% done with the character modeling in terms of the videos. We're just going to do last little 5-minute editions later in the week, and then really quickly texture it and light and render it. And that stuff will be quite easy because we're not, it's not as much of an important part of the project as it was for Project 5. So that'll be a great place to stop there with the character just about complete now. And you'll still be in the smooth preview state, so you can still kind of refine the shaping a little bit easier without having extra geometry. So that'll be a great place to stop, but you should be able to get yourself kind of really in good shape where just about everything's where you need it to be, all right? The only thing you might do right now, maybe just do some multi-cuts to kind of get a little bit more, don't worry about the knuckles right now at all, but you can kind of do a little bit more maybe in the elbow area and kind of the knee area, right? It's something that's probably not a bad idea to do now. So you can easily kind of put in a few extra edge loops there, and that will easily allow you to kind of just, you know, you can bring out this face to kind of develop that knee area a little bit better, maybe scale it out a little bit just to kind of make it a little wider. So easily you could take advantage of doing a little bit of kind of fine-tuned tinkering just kind of in the knee and the elbow area. Kind of bring that edge back a little bit, maybe this one back, just to kind of develop that knee shape a little bit better there with a few extra edge loops, right? And also we need those there for that bending to work better, right? And the same thing with the elbow, right? We now kind of have a little more in here that we can easily just kind of, you know, these faces could come out to kind of develop the bicep a little better. You know, this one could come out here to kind of bring that elbow out a little bit more. So you can easily start to kind of refine these shapes in a more qualitative way now, just easily through a little bit of shape adjustments, right? So this is one of the things you could probably do right now also. Like I said, do not worry about the knuckles right now. I always wait for the second smooth to do that. But at this state, you can easily start to get a little bit more development for kind of the elbow, knuckle, or elbow, knee, bicep areas kind of, and just get a little more geometry there because we're going to want some of that extra geometry to be here for this stuff anyways. So we can just kind of develop that shape just a little bit more there. So not a bad idea even at this stage to maybe add a few extra edge loops in the elbow and knee and do a little bit more shape refinement. Remember, go subtle with it though, you don't have to go too crazy. Alright, and that will put us, like I said, in a really great position where we have just a smidge, a little bit left to kind of finish this guy up, and we'll throw a quick UV wrap on him on the next video, which will come later in the week. And then, like I said, we'll just do a quick 5-10 minute mud box, quick paint, and export out, plug into Maya, light and render it really quick. Alright, that'll be good.